So, welcome to today. I'm Christine,
I'm Liz.
And I'm Sarah.
and we are Double Defense. We're an all female New York Rangers podcast, bringing you fun conversation about our New York Rangers, the NHL and hockey, and so much more. Thank you for joining us. Hey guys, this is Christine with Double Defense. When you get a chance, follow us on Instagram at double_defense_NYR. Also on Facebook. Look for us to do drink pairings for each of the games on our stories, and not too far away, look for us to be live as we broadcast from all three of our locations on a weekly basis. So we look forward to seeing and hearing from you.
What a week. I know you're excited about the team. I can hear just in the reading the pages, reading the boards, our comments to our group together, as well as listening to like other podcasts or like NHL Network on Sirius. There's some excitement in the air again, finally.
There is. Did Vegas spark something? Was it right before? I think people were talking about, was it Trouba throwing his glove into the glass that changed things? Because we've been winning ever since. It's been I don't know if you've caught any of the games or just the news on stuff, but this has been a really good week. And like, I've actually been anxious to kind of talk about last night's game, because from what I saw, I know we're getting raised from other teams like, you did it. You stopped the streak. They're gonna stay quiet for a little bit. I feel sorry for who they're playing next. The week has been great. Since we spoke last, I think our big moment was tackling our local rivalry of, the New Jersey Devils. It was a fantastic game. You could tell they got coached, they got lectured, they changed things up. Kudos to Gallant for actually changing these lines, which we've been talking about. Should have probably happened a while ago, but that was something I think they needed to overcome. The local rivalries are important to them. And I think just a few weeks ago when we played them and we lost to them, it was coming off of these two Ottawa and the Blackhawks games where we should have easily beat these teams. We didn't. And then the talk was, how much of it was in their head. And when they played the Devils a couple of weeks ago, that was when Shesterkin really took a lot of blame on himself for that. And since then, the games that they played, they've kind of come together a little bit more, kind of had more success. And interestingly enough too, like Vegas, some of these teams, from what we heard from the people there, like don't perform as well as at home as they've been doing on the roads, because we've just beat some top three teams. That's been good. Did it look like they were not performing well when we watched the game? No, it didn't. I could say the Vegas game appeared slow moving in my opinion, but we were up really high. I'm like, is there a time delay for like from where we were? But they did really well. The speed really started picking up like against the Devils. And let me just tell you, last night they were told to go out and skate fast. They skated fast. They had to. Like, Toronto's on fire. And what I saw was that the Leafs had some predictable moves. They were going right at the net, trying to stuff things in the beginning. I'm watching these predictable plays, and what I also saw was I felt that the Rangers got on those plays and stopped them in advance. And I kind of saw some of their toward the third period too, like how the Leafs were trying to kind of group and bring it into the zone. I felt it was very predictable. It was good to see that the Rangers were, I think they were onto it and kind of stopped it. So the blocks were amazing. They did stop a lot of shots and did a good job on the stat side to keep everything low. It wasn't a high scoring game, but that means, and it really showed too, that it was a very defensive game. So not only did we not have a lot of high shots, but we held them as well. So that's what makes it a really good balanced game, and played very well for things. And points, we're starting to creep back up. That's what we got to do. I'm excited.
I'm happy to hear all of that. I'll just own it. I haven't caught many games this week. I've seen a lot of highlights. I caught the end of the Pittsburgh game last night, but I can say confidently that the vibe for New York Rangers is back. It's that thing we've been talking about. Like we talked about it last show or last episode, post Vegas. it's like that magic is back. I mean, it was always there, but they're lit up and excited and confident and united in a way that we haven't seen in a while.
Exactly. We kind of and Gallant brought Kravtsov back into the lineup too, and brought Harper up too. So it's his first game, which like, in a way I kind of thought was interesting against a top team. But everything worked. I saw, I'm going to throw out mind your puck in business. I saw the question this morning, like, what do you think of Kravtsov? And I'm like, I was too busy watching everybody play. I don't know how much time Kravtsov got last night. VC was the man of the night yesterday, and Igor made some amazing saves. So I can't really answer that question for them. I have to kind of see what kind of time these guys are playing, because that's been our thing. It's like, let these young guys and you guys give them more time on the ice. I think some of them inadvertently got some extra time because there was a very long shift that almost killed Braden Schneider. So he comes off the ice and it took him a long time to catch his breath. So that it's just good to see. So I like the mix up of these lines. I've kind of been saying we should have been doing it a lot sooner. When you know it's not working and you want to give it a little bit of time to see if it's going to work, and it still doesn't work, change it up. It's something Gallant said before the season, in the preseason. It took him a little bit to do it, but what he's doing is working. That's a good thing. And just to remind people too, we've never fell to the bottom of anything. We really didn't go past halfway. So, and that's pretty standard for us. And this is kind of the point in time where, as we kind of close off the year and the holidays, right when the new year kicks off, that's where it's my point where I want to see their eyes on the prize kind of a mentality.
Absolutely. The playoffs and near playoffs, all those times are crucial. They're coming. If anyone's not thinking about it, I mean, that's not a good thing. We should definitely have our eye on the prize all the time.
Exactly.
But I think we have the momentum now that we've been looking for, both for the Rangers and Pittsburgh, and we'll get to Pittsburgh in a minute. It's just nice to see though that, like, as we're heading into the holiday season and, you know, somewhat of a break. I mean, it's not a very long break, couple days of rest, that it's top of mind that our favorite teams are heading towards that end goal.
I agree with you. You know, like the Penguins and the Rangers seem to always be neck and neck going up the stat board there. And we're going to see a lot of that. I think we're going to see some interchanging of these two teams in positioning. And so we have a couple of months to talk about that, you know, where that's going to be coming quickly as we head into the new year for that. Right now, I know I'm watching, kind of just getting into that. We're still in that wild card spot where we're in the first seat there. We have a good road trip coming up too. So if we keep this momentum, I kind of honestly worry about the road, not just the road trip, but where we seem to fail at keeping this level up is against these lower seeded teams. I mean, we're going back to Chicago. Chicago now is in the bottom spot. I think Anaheim won something. So they're now like they're sitting up a little higher now. And we haven't done well. We lost to Anaheim. We've lost to Blackhawks. We've lost to Ottawa. We shouldn't. And so in my mind, this road trip is going to be pretty critical in keeping that momentum and not getting too much of this confidence of this 5-win streak going on right now. I don't feel that they have that. I think they're excited. I have to say that when we scored the tying goal against Jersey, that was, if you watch the pile up and how excited they were, I think I added it to the story. That I think was a clear moment for them because they did it. And you saw their confidence level just soar at that moment, because they did a big old we won the Stanley Cup pile up type thing at that moment. Just to get to that moment was amazing for them. There's so many turning points. That I think is a critical moment for them, and they've been making it work. I am very anxious and curious to see how we do on this road trip coming up. If we keep up this mentality, as if we're playing the top 3 teams each time, we will shine and keep the streak going. You know, and I feel that there's nervousness too. I'm like, they're gonna have to play Halak in there somewhere at some point in time. So Igor can't hold it down forever. That'll be an interesting what and who Gallant's gonna have faith in for these teams.
Do you think Halak will play Chicago or no?
Yeah, he could. You know, he had a great last game, but it was a long time ago. So I'm kind of, one of my questions before was when he won against Ottawa, when we played him again, I don't know why he wasn't given that opportunity just to play again. And even when Igor lost that game, why wasn't he given the chance to kind of step in and play for Chicago then? There's 2 opportunities to kind of change it up. They didn't do it. So let's see how this goes. It seems to be last minute decisions, which is kind of exciting too. I think we're going to see who he's going to, it's just basically who does he have faith in that day that's going to perform against that team.
Any thoughts as to why we're seeing Gallant wait on these big decisions, like waiting to change the lines, like waiting last minute to change up your goalie? A team of this stature with all of these skills, milestones, achievements, you name it, they're pretty stacked and they're pretty great, and they had a great last season. What's the difference this year?
That's a good question, because I don't know. Knowing what he said in preseason, he didn't seem to act so fast on that, which is a little bit of a surprise for me. I think coming out of the Anaheim game loss with Halak playing in goal, he said, look, he's a good guy. He's going to get it. He just has faith in these players. So bottom line is, we don't know what their situation is in the locker room. So we don't know if, during the practices, they're not feeling well, they're tired, or they're just not performing well. So I don't know what he bases it on as well. Yeah, we will remind viewers, we are not in their locker room.
No.
Contrary to what many of
Not
you guys
yet.
think. I know, just you give us time.
Just give us some time.
Just give us time.
One question I've been meaning to ask is, do we think there's any other input that isn't being talked about? We're not hearing it in the media. We're not reading it anywhere. Do you think the sole decision making is on Gallant? Do you think anyone else is pulling some strings behind the scenes?
I think Gallant has, I feel that he's in good communication with, the other coaches. I mean, so he's not working with Igor, and the other goalies. So he's going to rely on the input from them for stuff. So I feel, again, I can't say I think or I know, I feel that there really is good communication, not only between coach and captain, but between, you got Kreider, you got these seasoned team members. So I feel that there probably is good communication with stuff, and why he has, he had faith in Kreider and Mika with they have their signature set up and shot, which someone's doing a statistic out there as to how many attempts versus successes there are. But I mean, it still works. As a hockey mom, one of the things, kind of what I saw last night, kind of an internal frustration for me. It's like, when like Sidney Crosby's good or Ovechkin is good, they're the ones that score. It's like, as a hockey mom, I'd be like, you're all over this guy. And you would get 2 defensemen on him or 2 players on him to kind of block them from doing that. I'm like, how does that not work in the NHL? I'm like, it should. So we should be more focused on these guys. And yet they still score. Someone just is going to break records again. Ovechkin was handed 3 of them the other day. Congratulations to him. And that, kind of to digress on that a little bit, I kind of thought, because they were playing Chicago, as a goalie, that's a good question for goalies. Would you want to be associated with his record-breaking goal, or would you want to be the one that denies him that record-breaking goal? So I don't know, because I felt like they just handed it to him. They're like, well, we might as well be known for something since we're last place. I was watching part of that when I was out to eat. It was on the TV. So I watched him score that goal. They scored 3 that night, I believe.
Pivoting to Crosby for a second, when you just mentioned him, you just reminded me, the game last night, Pittsburgh was playing Florida. I haven't watched Florida play in a while. If they weren't playing Pittsburgh, they actually look better than in recent memory than they used to. They used to, be one of those teams where you're just kind of like, okay, you're all out to pasture, But
no, they
look good last night.
They're strong.
They look strong, they look tight. They got Kachuk, although I didn't see Kachuk play last night. Crosby, I'm sure if anyone's caught the highlights, shot a goal at the goalie at Florida, but Malkin was on the side and it hit him and it went up his shorts. It looked painful. Like, they had to help him off the ice. It was quite a move that I've never seen, but one of those unique moments. Everyone was celebrating that he was trying to get a goal, and that he injured not only probably his best buddy and best teammate. It was just a weird dynamic, very strange. Malcolm down on the ground. I do think they ended up scoring anyways. They won the game 4-2, but it was just a strange.
I was gonna say, that's good news for us.
Yeah, it was just one of those things where I was just like, what just happened here? It was very strange.
I love those, I mean, not when they get hurt, but there's been some crazy goals. And I know you saw my post last night where I'm like, post, you suck. Why are we not chanting this? Because, we talked about last time, the Rangers, the question was, are we unlucky? We are the leader in the posts. I'm sure we still are, from what I'm seeing, as we keep hitting it. Last night, though, we got lucky. We hit it and we scored. So
amazing.
So that was, well, I think we got a little lucky there. That I'm like, why are we not chanting this somewhere? Because it's now a viable reason for us to yell something. So that was pretty funny. I had people commenting on that, and like,
it was a great post.
I'm gonna start chanting that.
Yes. One thing too, I know we wanted to talk about today was your poll, on the boards earlier this week, throwing in the towel. Great poll, by the way.
What I'll do too is I'll post it. I'll get more specific stats from the results. I put it on a couple Facebook pages and some boards to solicit feedback. And what prompted it was Tuesday night. We went down very quickly in the first 5 minutes, 2 goals by New Jersey, which ironically was the opposite of what happened, a few weeks prior. We had scored 2 quick goals, but then they won because they scored and we had no answered goals for them. The minute we were down 2 goals in 5 minutes, people were just already complaining. There's just people like to complain, but it was a curious thing. I wanted to see at what point do people throw in the towel? We kind of all have that point, or do you really stick it out to the end, win or lose? And taking away certain factors for things like in New York, I know some people are going to have to catch trains and stuff. And if we're losing so I'm like, take out those factors because there were answers like that. And then there were the cheaters, or I call them cheaters, or they're the kind of smart. They're the ones that will DVR the game and then just fast forward, when they're losing, I'll just fast forward.
I have a few friends like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So like maybe taking those little variances out. The majority of the people, and again, I can get better. It looked probably about good 85 and above % really do stick it out to the end, win or lose. The most common response on goal wise was if we were down 3 goals, then they would kind of turn it off. And the most common time is, maybe the late half of the third period. So if we're down 2 to 3 goals in that late half, then so that's interesting too, because that also tells you that all the people that are out there expressing their points of view throughout the game are still watching it, all the way to the end. The other thing that was interesting too is some of the people, based on past years where we have made some extreme comebacks, that was an interesting thing too, where they learned, from a certain game or a certain time that they weren't going to do it. They were going to, because anything can happen. That was probably the most common thing. It's like, it's not over till it's over. That was
absolutely. Yeah. I haven't seen a game in a while that's like, it's not over till it's over. Big miraculous comeback right at the end. Several goals need to be scored. It's been a little bit for me to see those, but absolutely they do exist. And I think you have to be it really depends on the game. We've all had those games that are just gross, but I really think it has to be pretty apparent that, okay,
it's over.
Done here,
Well, it kind of also sparked a conversation too when we were at the Vegas game, because I think we were up 4-1 with 15 minutes to go. Could be 5-1. Everybody left literally with 15 minutes to go in the third. And they were like, we cleared the rows. We could have gone down to the front. And the best part about that was when you looked again, we were on the roof, so we had that bird's eye view of everything. It was left with a huge amount of Ranger fans. And so we were easy chanting. We were heard easily enough. That was exciting for us, but the amount of people that bailed with so much time left, and they're sitting in a top spot, maybe it's because they don't care because they still have so many points and the loss is not a big thing. Everybody again was pleasant. So it wasn't like a bunch of grumpy people getting out of town before riots happened, because none of that did happen.
Yeah, you're out in Vancouver. Nothing to worry about there.
It was an interesting thing. One thing I didn't take into account in the poll is kind of where where we're situated in the standings too, and how that's a whole nother question. So, since I do have a background in statistics, I do love these kind of things. And as I see questions or complaints or things popping up, that's when I'm going to just generate more questions, and I'll throw them out on the spot for people. I like those kind of things.
Of course. And I do love the engagement that you get. You're really good at curating discussions on those boards and bringing them back. I see you do that all the time, almost every day. We've seen a few that just kind of go completely
my
off their own direction. And, it's also nice to see this week that there's no like hostility, because not often I think do you encounter hostility, but there's been a few message boards where I know Liz and I are watching them, watch you have to, deal with them, and we're like,
it's fun. They're
passionate, right? Passionate fans.
Well, okay. So, so some of these people, there was one guy who was like, he posted VC sucks, and I'm like, stop it. And he's like, well, it's sarcasm. And I'm like, really? And then he had to adjust his post. He's like, I didn't really think I had to put that it was sarcastic here. And I'm like, and I kind of said something like, yeah, I watch your post. I see your posts. I watch you. And so obviously in some of these boards and pages, there's people that just want attention. The best part is from what I see, they're all grown people, not like kids chiming in to troll and stuff. These are just grown people that probably have grown kids, that are doing this. So I get more curious on the social aspect as to why do you feel the need to even post this? Even the people who are trying to be positive are not positive. They're like, well, where are all these complainers now? Why do I not see you doing stuff? I'm like, so they're just kind of generating that negative kind of vibe as opposed to keeping it positive. When you see my posts, mine are, except for, well, it's still positive. When you want to chant that post you suck, it's positive.
Of course, because we're leading, the Rangers are leading the post. But no, I think you always do a great job of engaging. But I also think you do a great job of asking questions nobody else is asking. So the answers are always really unique to see. And I think in those answers, you get a lot more engagement created out of that. So I think that's always fun.
I did get a lot of background stories that I didn't ask for I had to, if you saw any of it, I had to corral some people back into like, it's your answer. Yeah. So it's fun. And I kind of documented what's interesting too, is I did post on the Ladies of the Rangers board, and the majority of the women, women will stay till the end. There was one or two of responses from the women who would have a goal or a time kind of note to it. But other than that, the majority of the women, almost 99% of the women, kind of stick it out to the end.
And hopefully those people are listening. Pivoting just for a second to a positive shout out that we got. I think it was yesterday. I don't even know what day it is anymore or what's happening. I have no sense of time. Shout out to John Chick from Locked On New York Rangers podcast.
Yes.
Thank you for your kind message earlier this week. We are so glad you enjoyed the Vegas episode.
Yes. Heidi as well. When we were in Vegas, and that was my my new friend, who I had met earlier in the year. So it is good to we are starting to see more engagement. I'm going to put more things out. I had a friend last night send me a picture of their dressed up Maple Leafs dogs. So I'm going to post it, because to the extent that you have animals that you like to dress up, I want to see them. I welcome every team, every sport, every animal. We have Liz's own Boshi, who has a little bit of a Ranger wardrobe and his own Instagram page too. So definitely want to, as we kind of go into the holidays, I want to see people's animals. So that'll be another thing that I'll post up there. So we can kind of see not only what animals you have, but what do you do with them, with your sports stuff? Do you dress them up? Do you make them watch the game with you? What do you do? I'm
going to try and get Swayze, it's my cat. I'm trying to get her into something and post that, because that's pretty fun. They are adorable. Even if they're Leafs fans, they're pretty cute.
It was cute.
Shout out to my best friend, Tyler, who said thank you to Liz and Christine this morning that the New York Rangers win over Toronto last night. He's happy he doesn't have to listen to Mitch Marner whine for a while, which is
yes, we
great.
Stopped two of their streaks last night. And I'll add in another a shout out to our own Igor Shesterkin for actually checking out our story. So we did see that. Made me very excited. I have a little 3D printed dragon that I had got earlier in the year. I kind of put it out to social media, like, what should I name this little dragon? And then it came back Igor. So he's our little mascot now. And to the extent that he's going to celebrate, he'll celebrate along with us. And I will be sure to post more of that.
I love that. That's awesome.
You guys are all asleep when I saw it too. I was like, I didn't have anybody to tell. Everybody's asleep. And Liz right now, I know it's just you and I talking. Liz is busy enjoying vacation, but I think she's out there wheeling and dealing, getting Ranger fans in there. She's watching things from her watch, her phone, wherever she can, she's picking up things. So we are actively communicating all our excitement and all these wonderful things through our group text. Yeah. And Liz couldn't get pictures on the text. So I'm sending her through Messenger too, in any way, shape, or form, so she can kind of see what we're talking about too. So it's been a very active week for us, no matter where we are, what we're doing. I mean, we're still kind of sobering back up from our adventures last week, all three of us. So now you've gone and included yourself into this mix as well, as we celebrate our teams, holidays, and everything, and making it enjoyable. It's been a fun week in kind of keeping each other up to date on different things, through our chat. And what I love is no matter where we are, what time it is, I can actually feel the excitement. I know Liz is excited out on the ocean where she's at. And
Double D at sea.
You're at your parties, and I'm here doing my thing.
You know, I
Some
have to
real fun.
say, I know I was texting you guys Sunday morning, but like Saturday, I was so written off. Like, I think I was on your Vegas train. And yeah, I don't know what
I know
happened.
you don't want to be left out on our party.
No, but Saturday was rough. There's a photo of me on the couch Saturday, and like, it's not nice. But at least I didn't puke all day.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's all. I literally was hungover and MIA, of course. That first day of heading into Vegas, and in a way, now I'm thankful that I was hungover before the game. I was literally standing at the ice for warm-ups when I think I said it out loud too. I'm like, I'm not hungover anymore. I felt perfect at that moment. And then I was able to enjoy drinks and stuff again for that
Of course.
that
Yeah.
night.
It feels
So
like, you know, a weight's lifted, right? When that happens.
it was such a weird moment. I'm too old for this kind of stuff. The hangovers are weirder. The drinking's weirder. Just the fact that my body was like, you're fine now. And gave me permission to enjoy the rest of the night. I'm thankful for. So, and I also think I guess we all took turns. There may be one day when we're all together that
We suffer together.
we suffer together.
Yeah, I look forward to that. Just quickly around the league, I had a quick look this morning. I do want to highlight, I didn't get to highlight this last episode, Chris Letang. When we recorded the last episode, he had been practicing, which
Yes.
thought I was like imagining things when I read that and saw it on TV. And as of last night against Florida, he played, which I'm just absolutely shocked. I can't imagine the insurance on this guy. You know,
Yes.
I can't.
I know, I saw that too. And I think we're kind of chatting about it. I don't really have my comment for that, raising my kids through hockey. I would see, because the other thing too, a lot of these, I don't know what their whole entire path has been, but watching as a hockey mom, some of these young kids get concussions. I remember my kids were fine. My kids are always bigger, so they really didn't get hurt, or they fell down, but they were, they didn't get hurt because they were so big. But younger kids, I saw a couple of these kids getting concussions. As they got into the older levels of play, they actually had to do physicals and concussion protocols before they could even play. But some of these parents, would say that their kids got 2 or 3 concussions and that they're still playing. And this was at a young age. I never understood that, because if that were to happen to my child, it would have been done. They would have gone into chess or something after that, because you just don't know what's going to happen later on.
Yeah.
So the thinking as an older adult, knowing that, and this is concussions, this guy had strokes.
Yeah. And a very
huge.
serious blood clot, I think, before the first stroke.
Yes. I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
But he clears everything, and that's what he wants to do. So I don't know what, the thought of his family and the team and the doctors and the insurance coverage on this guy is, the liability for him in playing. I mean, he looks healthy, and, he played well. So that's a good thing.
And that's just it. Like his family, as you said, like the team, you just can't imagine though. Like, I mean, obviously he loves the game, and that's wonderful, and he's getting full support for that, and that's fantastic. But like, at what cost? Like, at some point, anyways, it's not for me, you and I to decide, but just something I thought we could talk about.
But let's keep an eye on that news and see how. Actually, it'd be curious to watch. To kind of keep an eye on. He's on your team. I'd be curious to see like what kind of minutes he's getting, how that is he going to be playing every game. So, it's a curious thing to kind of watch, because it seems like it's a first. I don't know any other player that's kind of had these kind of issues, health issues, that's still back in the game. It'd be kind of curious thing to kind of follow and watch to see kind of how he's growing, if they're going to kind of just level him out and let him play to his abilities, or give him more time, and how well he does too. Is he going to kind of be in the middle of the pack, or is he going to come out and shine? Are people going to be afraid to check him?
Of course.
Is he going to have a little bit of power on that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of things to watch. Some people have no mercy and stuff. So
earlier in December, so like at the beginning of the month, one thing too I forgot to highlight last week, PHP partnership with the NHL. So the NHL, in continuing efforts to make the game inclusive for fans, they have partnered with an organization to help deaf and hard of hearing fans enjoy the game, which I think is really exciting. I'm sure that's from like a technological aspect. I am not sure. I'm excited to hear that, and I like seeing more of that as the game progresses in the fan experience.
I think that's a great thing. I also think that the NHL is one of these leaders in the various sports to kind of step out and do more of those inclusive type of things. So another curious question that I'll look it up too is, so the NHL is doing that, but within an arena atmosphere, is the NBA going to kind of pick up on that too and utilize like the technology that they're probably going to be using for that, within the arena, and then for broadcasting too? I like it when I see the NHL kind of get openly involved with progressing in these various social areas.
Yeah, me too.
It makes me proud always.
And something else that caught my attention that hasn't caught my attention up to this point is that the Winter Classic is upon us. It's on January 2nd. Boston, Pittsburgh. I saw today they're going to have the Stanley Cup around for the fan experience, some Boston alumni. So I look forward to watching on TV and seeing, some of those old faces we haven't seen in a while. I hope we see some like Timmy Thomas and Zdeno Chara, one of my favorites.
That's always a great game. So yes. When we're sitting around and, sometimes it was on January 1st, so we're going to get that extra day. So we're not competing with stuff. And that's kind of become our, like, at least in my family, the equivalent of the Macy's Day Parade and the parade and the football game, so it's our thing to watch. One day it'd be nice to go and check it out because a lot of times it's the Rangers that are playing. So it's good that they're giving other people a chance to. And one day it'd be kind of fun to kind of hit that. They're usually in the colder areas and usually it's kind of cold. So I think I would probably die. We're still coming out of this kind of COVID kind of, last 2 years for things. So that's good to see the outdoor things kind of growing again. And let's see how that develops too.
I know our teams play each other next week. I think it's on the 20th. Perhaps we will record after that. And
yes,
I look forward to it. It'd be a great way to round out Christmas anyways. And then hopefully we get one more after that before New Year's.
We should just drink, and then we can chat and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll plan out 2023. I think that's a great idea.
It's going to be good.
It'll be good. All right. Well, I think that's it for today. I think we'll have Liz here on the next one.
Yeah. So as we go into the holiday season, happy holidays to everybody and listen to the next ones as we kind of wind down this year. We're all excited.
We're all excited.